GOAT is not enough. Yep, to be the greatest of all time is not a sufficient goal. And I'm gonna tell you why in this video coming right up. There are a couple things I want to talk about. The first one is uniqueness. This is important as fuck. All of who people consider the GOATs are very unique. They all separate themselves from each other. They all bring something different to the table. Now, amazing channel called Hip Hop DX has an entire series thing about different rappers and why they are or are not the GOATs. And it's very interesting, the takes they have on the GOAT debate, Murs and Justin Hunt and whoever else is doing that now. I always found this debate fascinating, but not as much as the debating. The people most considered in these lists are the ones who brought the most of themselves to the table. They brought the most of their highest value. The things that make them different from each other yet accessible to the general public. These are people you can study because they dug so deep into who they are in the process of finding and delivering their brands in the form of these higher values that it's like we owe it to ourselves to study that. Specifically so we can do the same for ourselves and faster. If you study the studying itself, your self-studying will probably become more efficient and effective. Based on my studies. That's what I have concluded. Maybe it's wrong, I don't know. I'll find out as I study more. A lot of them did that shit that only they did, and no one surpassed it. Now, to not include intellectualizing by saying someone like Drake isn't one of the greatest because he has ghostwriters or something, I would like to put that to the side. But if anything, a good reason he is on anyone's list is probably his commercial success. Anyone could argue, yeah, but Lil Wayne did that, and Eminem did that, and Jay-Z did that. But they didn't do it most recently. There's the greatest, but there's also the greatest of all time. And when you consider this time, it's not an easy time to become great because this day and age move differently in terms of distribution and all that other shit. Records are being constantly broken, and the difference between sales and streams blurs the meaning of effort and marketing and results involved in what constitutes the comparison between a platinum album or single nowadays versus one in the 2000s, 90s, 80s, and so on and so forth. And this, I would like to propose alone, is enough to defeat the purpose of even having a debate in the first place. Because the greatest rapper of all time would technically require someone's evaluation of what the greatest time of all time is. And to truly determine what the greatest time of all time is, we would need to reach the end of time itself, which by the way is an illusion. So there is no fucking point. There really is no point. And it is not enough to want to be the GOAT. That's just one thing I want to get out of the way. Another one is, now if you or anyone is going to still treat this as a goal, like being the greatest that no one ever was, you may want to consider how different you are. You may want to consider what no one else has brought to the table that you can bring to the table. What no one else has done that you can do. And you may want to consider how future-proof it is. Because if your methods cannot stand the test of time, why would they work in 20 to 30 years when people are talking about them? Don't you want to be a part of those conversations? It's very similar to the dynamics of the tech industry because you get the most out of it by creating the biggest disruption. You are the size of the impact you create. Now, I feel like disruption itself shouldn't be the end goal here exactly, but to take a concept that either isn't there and bring it to the table in an accessible way, like Eminem, Eminem is like a whole package of met criteria. Or take a concept that is there and bring it to the table as if it wasn't in the first place because you do it in such a new way, like Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, a concept album about a teenager's experience in the hood, and it was compared by a lot of critics to Nas's Illmatic. It's pretty much the same thing but in Queensbridge and not Compton. A lot of old heads think any rap past 2010 sucks. I've showed Good Kid, Mad City to plenty of them, and they were all astounded. They're also expansive. Jay-Z put out 444 in June 2017, and if you paid attention to the storm as its eye was touching the press, a lot of its promotion came alone from word of mouth over the fact that it was Tidal exclusive, and you had to be a Sprint or Tidal customer just to listen to it. This pissed so many people off, but I like to think at least that it was a fucking great album regardless. These people are expanding. Even the dead ones, obviously beyond what they prefer to happen. If you want to exclude death from your criteria, which is something else that's silly about this whole goat thing, everyone seems to have their own criteria for it. And a lot of people will make exceptions for reasons that involve their own values and shit. They make exceptions based on their own biases. But anyway, if you want to exclude death from your criteria, the controversies and mysteries surrounding the deaths of Tupac and Biggie have only expanded their names more and more over time. The marketing at this point kind of does itself, and that blurs the purpose of including how great someone can even make themselves within their control during their time. These guys were just doing their thing, and they were just fucking really good at it. But someone else, or many people, did something. Maybe they were involved in it, but that's not a topic for this video. And that's something that was done was not in their control. Again, maybe it was, but the fact that so many people don't know is also enough to further, back up my point that being the greatest is more than fulfilling a desire of being the greatest. They're also iconic. Kanye, whether you want to call him one or not, is very iconic to the idea itself of non-threatening, non-gangster rap. J. Cole is very iconic to the new school artists who talk about what the golden age artists talked about. Lil Wayne is very iconic to the modern popularity of using punchlines and similes, but he's also very iconic to the popularity of so many other things. Many notable artists have taken one thing or two from him alone and turned it into their own and branched out from there. From Drake to Kendrick to Young Thug to Kodak Black. Outkast is or was or will continue to be, or any combination of all three, very iconic to the accessible use of intellectual lyricism. The list goes on, and everyone has their own fucking lane. And yet, to say that we can't out-goat these people is still somehow crazy to me. I remember when Lil Xan said that Tupac makes boring music. I don't like looking at things the way they are as much as how they could be. I wrote a Facebook post about that, saying that they both make boring music, and hip-hop can and will always figure out a way to do better. So many people unfriended me, blocked me, so many people were offended. Grown men! You'd be very surprised. I wasn't. Maybe that's just me. Speaking of grown men and being offended by things, the meaning of all time in the term greatest of all time is a conundrum that a lot of us seem to attach a different meaning to. I wanted to point that out while considering all this other shit. However, that's a topic for another video. But my point is that none of this shit is enough. I think we can do more and better and different from this shit. I think we can push the boundaries further. I think that's what we should do. Isn't that what hip-hop is about? If I had to guess, I think we can do shit regardless that hip-hop maybe strived to do in the past but wasn't clear about wanting to. And we can do shit that it hasn't done before because of that. History itself has proved this. These people are proof of it, and I think we can use it to change the culture and change the world in turn. Whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to say is an alternative to simply rapping and just being really good at it, but this hasn't gotten me results to the point where people are like,
hey, this kid's onto something.
Maybe it's not easy to see right now, but it's all good because even if that's the case to you, then if to you and when to me it happens, I more than anyone will be the one who caused it. And I'm not bragging by saying that. I like to think that whatever I am doing or contributing to other people or the world or whatever it is a reversal of my ego. That's what I try to do and how highly I seem to think of myself. So I want to encourage others to do things that are different. If you want to be the GOAT, at this point, my argument is that it's just not enough. My argument is that what it even means to be enough is ideally how much you exceed what others have done. So why don't you take what it means to be the GOAT and expand that? You want to talk about disruption?
Shit.
That's disruption. Disrupting what disruption even means. The criteria that different demographics of people, especially age demographics, use as a justification to include you in this conversation. The more people have to constantly intellectually arm wrestle each other over whether or not you belonging on this list of theirs or the collective list of the culture itself, the better, right? And what do you guys think? Is being the GOAT enough? Do you still want to be the GOAT? What does it even mean to be the GOAT to you? What about today's music are you trying to change? What is the size of the impact, the disruption that you want to make? Please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you have any ideas that you want me to talk about in future videos, and I'll give you a shout out if and when I use them. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. There are links at the bottom of the description of all my social media. Also at the bottom of the description, there are links to my new production kits where you can find all the hardware and software that I use to make music and these videos. If you buy any, I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos for you guys. I made all the beats in this video. If you want to use them, you can find links to each one in the description or at samuel.earth/beats. Make sure to leave a like if you like it, subscribe if you haven't already. If you could turn on that little bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.